Go live, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Welcome everybody to the regular session of the San Gabriel City Council. Please bear with us as this is only the second time that we are doing our meetings via telephone conference here. And apologies for the delay in being late as our previous closed session was ran a little bit late. And actually we're still in that closed session. Our city attorney Keith Lemieux needs to make an announcement with respect to that closed session. So go ahead, Keith.
Yes, I need to make a report out of closed session for those continuing that meeting. This is the public portion at the end of the special meeting. And I just need to report that there were two items considered. The City Council received a report. One of the items was added as a Nita Rose item, the Golterman matter. The City Council received a report on that item, as well as the San Gabriel FFA versus City of San Gabriel Public Employee Relations Board matter. After receiving report from special counsel on both matters, no reportable action took place. Mr. Mayor, that concludes the report. Okay, thank you. And with that, the closed session that took place immediately preceding this is now adjourned. And it's now 7:03 p.m. I will call the regular session of the San Gabriel City Council to order. Shows here that the Pledge of Allegiance will still be done and led by Vice Mayor Menchaca.
Okay. Well, let's all face the flag if you have one at home. Yeah. And if not, please join me in leading the flag of Pledge of Allegiance. I'm sorry. Ready, begin.
Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to
the republic for which stands one nation
under God,
indivisible,
liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right. Sorry to put you on the spot there. So let's see here. Tonight's meeting is being live streamed on cable channel 3 and our online platforms. For public comments, please email them to cityclerk@sgch.org no later than the time that the item for which the comment is being considered by the council tonight. Comments received after items have been considered will not be read into the record. Comments will be read by Assistant City Clerk Marilyn Bonas for up to 3 minutes each. And then agenda items will be introduced by Chief City Clerk Sharon Clark. To prevent any overlaps in comments, each council member will be called upon in order to speak on each agenda item. And I'll also request for those of us on the call to please mute your line if you're not speaking, so that there's no background noise or interference with the members who are speaking. For our first item here, the approval of agenda order, City Attorney Lemieux has another announcement.
I do. We have the need to add what we call a Nita Rose item to the agenda. This item would be added as consent item H and be identified as resolution identifying authorized agents for request for public assistance. This item is being presented as a necessary action to take in response to the COVID emergency to secure funding. We have to have this document approved and submitted before the next regular meeting, and we've learned about the need for it after we posted the agenda. So based on that representation, I would request that you make a finding by 4/5 vote that it is appropriate.
I'm sorry, Keith. Can I ask all people on the line to mute the line that they're using?
Yeah. Okay.
Is that Mr.
Okay,
Ding? Mr. Ding? Mr. Ding? Can I reiterate that? Can I reiterate that you please mute your line? Please mute your line if you're not speaking. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, Tony.
Yeah.
Can you please mute your line if you're not speaking?
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, would you like me to proceed?
Let's give it a second here. Okay, sounds like that. Yes, please proceed.
So again, just to reiterate, I'm recommending a motion to amend the agenda to include a new item as consent item H, identified as resolution identifying authorized agents for requests for public assistance, and that includes a finding that the need to have this matter was discovered after the posting of the agenda, and that we need to take action before the next meeting in order to have this properly filed with the appropriate parties. Is that clear, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, very clear. So I will move to approval of the agenda order with the addition of the need arose item H, and including the findings that this item came to the city's attention subsequent to the posting of the agenda, and that there is a need to take action before the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
Okay, I have a second from Councilmember Liao. Roll call vote. City Clerk's office, will you please call the roll call vote?
Mayor Pu,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Menchaca,
Aye.
Councilmember Costanzo,
Aye.
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Councilmember Liao.
Aye.
Motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
Okay. The next item is presentations, which there are none for this meeting. Next is public comment. Assistant City Clerk, would you mind, I'll go ahead and just read this portion. This is a time set aside for members of the public to address the City Council on items of interest that are not on the agenda, but are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the San Gabriel City Council. And as I mentioned previously, public comments email to cityclerk@sgch.org will be read into the record during this meeting here up to the time at which we at the City Council consider the item for which the comment is made. So, Assistant City Clerk Marilyn Bonus, have you received any public comments to be read?
Mayor, we did receive 2 public comments. However, they are requesting for it to be read during the second public comment portion.
Okay. Are there any other public comments received?
I have not received any other ones.
Okay, then we will take those public comments in the second, public comment section. And so I'll close this public comment section and move on to the consent calendar. Marilyn, would you mind reading the preamble for the consent calendar item?
Sure. All items listed under the consent calendar are considered routine, and recommendations will be approved in one motion unless a member of the City Council or public requests separate discussion.
Okay, let's see here. Vice Mayor Menchaca, do you have any items that you would like to pull or separate for discussion?
Not at this time.
Councilmember Costanzo?
I'm sorry, Mayor Putin. No items to be pulled.
Okay. Councilmember Harrington?
Nothing, Mayor.
Councilmember Liao?
Mayor, I just want to pull item F for just a real simple question.
Okay. For my myself, I have just a quick correction for item 4A2, the minutes of the regular meeting on March 17th. On page 2 of those minutes, under item, I guess it's 1B, or no, this shouldn't be 1B, it should be the ordinance number 663, basically the description there at the very end should say original new business items 6A and 6B rather than 7A and 7B. So with that correction, is there a motion to approve the balance of the consent calendar items A through E?
E. So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Costanzo and second by Councilmember Liao. Vice Mayor Menchaca.
Yes.
um,
Are you taking a roll call? Is that what you're doing?
yes.
Yes. Okay. Aye.
Let's see here. Councilmember Costanzo.
Aye.
Councilmember Harrington.
Aye.
Councilmember Liao.
Aye.
And myself, aye as well. Go ahead, Councilmember Liao, with respect to item 4F.
Okay, well, it's just a real simple question because we're going to have, a contract for modernize this elevator. However, there's a new, new future for this new key card reader. So who can get this key card? Because it's supposed to open to the public. So how can public access to the council chamber through elevator if they don't have the key card?
This is Mark Lazaretto. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. That's a great question, Councilmember Liao. And during the week when we don't have a council meeting, it will be accessible by key card using our employee IDs. So those employees who need to have access to that part of the building, it will be part of their key card. And then on council meeting nights or any nights where we have public meetings upstairs, we will be able to program the elevator to not require a key card so that anybody from the public can go up there.
Okay, thank you. That answered my question.
All right, then, is there a motion to approve item 4F?
So moved.
Motion approved.
I have
I'll
a
second.
motion. Okay, I have a motion from Councilwoman Costanzo and a second from Vice Mayor Menchaca. Roll call vote, Vice Mayor Menchaca.
Aye.
Councilmember Costanzo.
Aye.
Councilmember Harrington.
Aye.
Councilmember Liao.
Aye.
And myself, aye as well. So let's see here. We do have the Nita Rose item, which on the latest agenda here is actually items 4G and 4H. Check here.
I believe were those not just approved as part of the consent calendar?
Well, my previous motion only related 4A through 4E, then we just approved F. Is there any need or does any member of the council want to separately discuss items 4G or 4H?
No, I'm good.
Councilmember Liao?
No, no, not it.
Okay, Councilmember
I'll
Harrington.
move,
Go ahead.
this is Vice Mayor Menchaca. I'll move to approve.
Okay. So to be clear, now your motion is to approve items 4G and 4H.
Yes.
That's the recommended action for items 4G and 4H. Okay, I'll second, and roll call vote again. Vice Mayor Menchaca.
Aye.
Councilwoman Costanzo.
Aye.
Councilmember Harrington.
Aye.
Councilmember Liao.
Aye.
And for myself, aye as well. So that concludes the consent calendar. The next item is a public hearing. There is none. Next is new business. Let's see here. This is new business item 6A, ordinance number 663, rescinding ordinance number 588 CS and establishing local speed limits based on an engineering and traffic survey. Presentation will be made by Public Works Director, City Engineer Greg DeVink. Go ahead and proceed. Hello, Mark or Greg, are either of you on the line?
Mayor Pooh, it's Mark. I'm on the line. I was waiting to see if Greg was there and maybe had his phone muted by mistake. If not, I'd be happy to give the presentation and he can answer questions if he comes on.
That might be him
Greg?
joining now.
Greg, was that you jumping on? All right, well, if you'll allow me to use his presentation, I'm not nearly as funny as he is, but I will give it my best shot. We sent you a presentation earlier in the day, and the public is able to follow along on screen. This would be a change to, be actually changing our local speed limits by adopting ordinance number 20-663. On slide number 2, we do typically every 5 years, we have an outside engineering consultant that studies all of our speed limits throughout the city. And it's interesting that if we don't have a speed study, if we write citations for folks that are traveling over the speed limit in streets, we would have trouble making those speeding citations stick, so to speak, and they would be contestable. Going on to slide number 3. So the vehicle code, it requires that we consider the prevailing speeds, which means that we have somebody that actually does a study with electronic engineering equipment that captures the speed of everybody traveling on that street. And what ends up happening is all of the folks that travel on that street are put into a spreadsheet, and we end up coming up with the 85th percentile. And the way that the vehicle code reads is we can't set that speed limit any lower than the 85th percentile. If we do, then we would not be able to enforce that speed limit. So on to slide number 4. We do have streets in our city that are set by default in the vehicle code. Any alleyways and blind intersections are automatically set at 15 miles an hour. And 25 miles an hour is the established limit for residential streets and business districts, as well as areas around schools, particularly when children are present and other sensitive areas. Those we do not have to do a speed study for. So the speed study incorporates all of the other streets in the city. On to slide number 5. So there were 33 street segments in the city that were studied by an outside traffic consultant. And of those, 22 had no changes, and 11 required a speed limit increase of 5 miles per hour. Those are listed on the slide.
Online now, sorry.
You're good, Greg. Why don't you take it away? You're on slide number 5, and you've done a great job up to this point.
I was dialing the wrong number the whole time. All right, slide 5, let me go there. Slide 5. All right, I apologize for that. On slide 5, the results of our newest survey kept the speed limits the same for most of the street segments. However, it has increased the speed limits by 5 miles per hour at 11 segments based on the required practices that were mentioned earlier. These 11 locations are listed on page 10 of the report, and I'll leave it displayed for a few minutes so we can review it. But you can see that I combined 2 contiguous segments on Hermosa and 3 continuous segments on Mission. So those 2 streets are actually 5 segments. I'd also like to note that the San Gabriel Police Department questioned the wisdom of increasing the speed limits at any location in the city, and the consultant did a second review and determined that these increases, based upon real measured field data, were the appropriate legal enforceable speed limits required by the California Vehicle Code. Not increasing the speed limits at these segments would be considered invalid, and citations would not be enforceable. 9 of the 11 segments increased to 30 miles per hour, which is only 5 miles an hour more than residential streets and school zones. So we can go to slide 6. I'm requesting that Council introduce Ordinance 663 by title only and waive further reading. If agreed, a request to rescind prior Ordinance 588-CS and adopt new Ordinance 663 to establish updated local speed limits based upon the newest engineering and traffic survey will be placed as a consent item in the next council meeting. And I have concluded this with a picture of dogs driving a car, because nothing conveys the need for safe driving more than a family of golden retrievers driving their Subaru without wearing seatbelts. So now on to the final slide, and I apologize for messing up the presentation, but I can answer your questions and comments.
Okay, thank you, Greg, and thank you, Mark. Are there any questions? I guess I should, well, are there any questions from council? Vice Mayor Menchaca?
Greg, my question is, if we find that some of the speed limits are too high, is there a possibility of still, we would have to go back and rehire the engineer? Is that the process?
To lower them after they've been part of this study and adopted?
Yes, after
yes.
the study, we find that there was some deficiencies in the original study. And I'm just kind of thinking it through as I'm speaking. I just wanted to know, we would have to start all over again and contract with an engineer and redo the study. Would that be the process?
We could hire somebody to study a much more limited scope of streets for much less money, but that would be the legitimate process. We could also lower the posted speed limit on our own. However, issuing citations at our reduced speed would not be enforceable in court. If they were challenged, they wouldn't hold up.
Okay.
And also,
I just wanted
the increases that we're seeing are reflective of actual driver behavior today. So, lowering them would actually be changing what we have today, not actually leaving it alone or making it worse.
I just wanted to confirm that we do have a recourse, because if our police department finds that it increases accidents or there's some type of limitation to the residents that live there, and let's say they can't come out of their garage because people are speeding or driving faster, that there's some recourse that we can take. So I just wanted to find out, what the possibilities were. But that's all for the only question I have.
It's certainly possible.
Thank you, Greg.
And there's no requirement to wait 5 years. It actually mentions in the California Vehicle Code that when you change the conditions of individual streets, like when we repave all of Del Mar, we can do a new speed study just on that one section.
Okay. Yeah, because my understanding is that the condition of the roads really has more to do with the speed than the actual miles per hour. You know, it just changes it, just like you said.
Yes.
Okay, that was all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vice Mayor Machaca. Just want to announce also for the public that public comment on this item is still open, and if you wanted to make any public comment with respect to this item, you should email cityclerk@sgch.org. It will be open until the end of the council questions portion that we're in currently. So go ahead, Councilmember Costanzo. Any questions?
Thank you, Mayor Pooh. Hi, Greg. So from what you're telling me, it's the driver, we all know that we all drive too fast throughout the city, so it's unfortunate that the driver behavior dictates what the miles per hour should be on any given street. To me, it should be first and foremost to be the safety of the public and the pedestrians that are close by. One of the streets in particular that I have always been concerned about is Broadway. We know we recently had a fatality because people do drive east and west on that street very fast, trying to get from Del Mar to Mission or Junipero Serra. So it's just a concern of mine that behavior dictates what we're supposed to have as miles per hour.
That is the prevailing factor. It's what 85% of the population is driving at or below. So it does ignore the 15% of the fastest drivers. That is just how it's worded, with concessions for accident data and traffic and other circumstances that allow it to be lowered by 5-mile-an-hour increments. And Broadway being residential already, I'm not familiar.
Park and
but
right.
Yeah, but it may be at 25 right now. I'm not certain of that.
So could we leave it at 25, but then that prohibits us if we ticket somebody if they want to fight it? They would have a good argument if we didn't raise it to 30.
If we did not post it to 30, if we left it posted at 25, at least from Junipero Serra to Del Mar, those tickets would not be enforceable if the driver challenged them. Most drivers won't be aware of that. And a lot of drivers don't want to take the day off of work to challenge tickets either. But
right.
This is reflective of what most drivers are doing.
That's just one street in particular that I'm concerned about. I mean, I'm concerned about all streets, but with the recent unfortunate fatality, and with the park there and kids and the swimming pool and all that, I just would rather see it a lower speed than higher.
One factor is we very recently put in the new crosswalk at the park. That is that was a very long block where cars can go faster without stop signs or traffic signals or anything. And now this kind of is a visual disruption to that long corridor.
Right, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Councilmember Harrington, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Mayor. No, I think the report was very clear. I also believe, that once again, our infinite wisdom of our state assembly members have tied our hands. I really think this should be a local decision, but I understand that we don't get to make that decision. Otherwise, we're not able to enforce it. So, I'm just going to go with the recommendation of staff.
Okay, Councilmember Leal.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I do have concern for the pedestrian safety because one of the streets is Santa Anita Street, and it says from Las Tunas Drive to Mission Drive, changing from 25 miles to 30 miles per hour. But, there are two crossings. First crossing is from Medical Office Building on the west side to the hospital. And then second crossing is the public, it's like a public parking lot, but owned by the hospital, and then to the hospital parking structure. So, think about this, people that, they taking the patients out of hospital or in the hospital, they all have to drive very slowly and very carefully. And because both sides, for the medical office and the hospital. So to increase to 30 miles per hour, I think it's just put too much dangers for not just for the drivers, but for pedestrians try to go to either side. So I don't think we should increase the speed on that street. That's number one, the Santa Anita Street. And second one is by the City Hall. We have this Mission Drive curving around the Mission Church. And on the north side, we have the elementary school. And also there's a crossing for pedestrians from the City Hall to the park. So again, because the curve, if you try to drive 30 miles per hour, I think we're going to see a lot of accidents, and I don't think it's a good idea to increase the speed at that street. And also, because we have parallel parkings on Mission Drive, and a lot of cars, when they back out, they have to watch the coming traffic. And if they're driving so fast, 30 miles per hour, again, there will be terrible accidents again. So I disagree on those streets. The first one is Santa Anita by the hospital, and the Mission Drive by the City Hall.
Okay. First, I have a comment for the Santa Anita Street, and that's we have made recent efforts to make the crossing safer, despite the recommendation to raise the speed. We have put in better lighting and improved crosswalks with reflectors. We tried rumble strips on the street too to make cars more aware. But I think your points are quite valid in regards to the hospital and near City Hall with the parking.
So can we take out those two streets not to increase the speed?
As far as altering these findings, we'd have to go back to the consultant to see if they'd be willing to do it. We had meetings between engineering, the police department, and the consultants to go over this, and it was questioned, why do these need to go higher? And the consultant did defend why they had to go higher. It was partially a lack of actual accident data that would kind of mandate they be lowered. So they kind of said this is by the rules, these are what they should be. So I think we have a right to possibly post them lower. They just wouldn't be enforceable if people challenged the tickets.
Okay,
Oh, well, yeah, I just don't. We could lower, but not to bring the speed higher. Definitely, it's not a good idea at those two locations.
Okay, let's go ahead and, because we'll still have an opportunity for council discussion, and so we can discuss this during that portion. But what I'll do now is announce that the time for public comment on this item is now closed. So, Assistant City Clerk Bonus, have you received any public comments with respect to this item?
Mayor, we have not received any at all for this item.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. Let's go ahead with council deliberation discussion. I guess let's discuss the issue of whether we want to modify the speed limits listed here on slide 5 of the presentation. Why don't we go ahead, Councilmember Costanzo, I know you already express your opinion with respect to Broadway, but we can talk about some of the other street segments as well.
That was my main concern, Mayor Pooh. I do understand what Councilmember Harrington is saying, though. Unfortunately, this is kind of state mandated, so our hands are tied.
Okay. Can I ask, is there any legal penalty to having lower speed limits than what would be sort of suggested by the consultant study?
I'm not comfortable answering legal penalty questions. I just don't have the expertise of that.
Right. I guess I know.
Councilmember Mayor Pooh, I don't know the answer to that question offhand, but I mean, we would waste time presumably in an effort to enforce this.
Yeah.
Would be one.
Right, would be one result. I guess I'm just wondering if for those who are listening and watching this meeting, then if there would be any actual penalty if they were ticketed and then decided to challenge a ticket in violation of a lower speed limit. Okay, Council Member Harrington.
My only question is, do we have to accept the study as whole, or as some council members want to pick and choose? And if we do that, are there any issues with possibly the entire study getting challenged? So I know a creative attorney could come in there and say they were given this study, they didn't accept the study, therefore I'm challenging the ticket, and the vehicle code says that the council has to accept the study, the results of the study. So that's just my question: is can you pick and choose inside of the study what you're accepting and what you're not accepting, and would there be any legal argument to that? So I want to make sure we know that ahead of time before we go choose if there's any precedent for that.
All right, it's a very good question. Greg or Keith, do you have any thoughts to add to that?
I have a partial thought on that. The vast majority of the city does not get studied. So all the residential streets and the school zones, they have inherent speed limits already. So these 33 segments are kind of separate. So I don't think you really invalidate the entire city by ignoring this report, because of those particular streets just don't change. But you could,
and I think the study itself.
Yeah, I think if you pick and choose from this, well, I don't know. I'm speculating. I would think you're only invalidating the ones you don't pick.
You know, it would be folly for me to try to anticipate the arguments a clever attorney might make in court in response to these things. I just think that probably as a matter of public policy, if we set speed limits that we knew were unenforceable, I think it would probably be a mistake to try to enforce those speed limits. And I'm not sure exactly what the remedy against the city would be for doing that, but I certainly would want to take a look at that before we decided to enforce them. Let me put it that way.
Greg and Keith, I'm going to go a little bit out of order here and just ask maybe a more basic question, which is, the staff report begins by saying certain speed limits are established by state law and the California Vehicle Code, such as the 25-mile-per-hour limit in residential or business districts or in school zones when children are present. So my question here is, Broadway between Junipero Serra and Del Mar, as Councilwoman Costanzo pointed out, why is that not considered a residential street? And then similarly with some of the issues raised by Councilmember Liao, those would appear to be business districts.
That's true. Pretty much almost every street in the city is either residential or business for the most part. I was not involved in the selection of these streets, but they tend to be the more arterial roads is what gets studied. And I guess the The state law is when you observe the dominant prevailing speeds in excess of a business district or a residential district, you increase them. It sounds strange, but these are all roads that are classified more arterial than just a quiet residential street or a very dense business district.
Right, okay, so I'm trying to, the limit.
Mr. Mayor, this is Mark, and I can answer that question. It's actually done in the general plan process. The mobility element of the general plan lays out those street classifications. And for whatever reason, Broadway was listed in that document as a limited secondary arterial. So the answer of whether it's a residential street or not is determined in that section of the general plan. And if we wanted to remove that, we would have to do that as part of our either a comprehensive general plan update or updating that section of the general plan. Or use that as a just an example, but all of the streets that are in these segments are characterized in our general plan as per their predominant use.
Because it strikes me that actually...
I can chime in a little bit, Jason. I recall this early on. We had done this study a while back. I don't remember how long ago, but when I asked that question originally, it's because some of these streets actually do feed to other cities, and we can get opens us up for grants depending how we classify a street. So some of these were thought of as possible grants if it's the difference between an arterial and not an arterial. And that could be from Metro, it could be from the state, it could be from the feds.
Right, but I feel like we're talking about two different types of classifications, whether a street is an arterial, a collector, or what's the other classification of street, and then whether or not it's residential or a business district. It's a different classification or categorization. I don't know. Maybe Greg, can you shed some light on that?
If these particular streets are a different classification?
Well, whether a street is residential or not, seems to be a separate, inquiry or question than as to whether a street is arterial or not. It's an arterial or collector or collector street, but is that not correct?
I think that definition is largely based on traffic volume more than any other factor. I mean, the northern end of San Marino is just single-family homes on both sides, and it's included in
right.
here.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm saying, and not to mention Ramona between Mission and Wells,
yeah,
similarly.
But they tend to be wider and higher traffic volume streets.
So I guess my question is, still why do they, even if they're considered to be quote unquote arterial, which I get, can they therefore not be considered residential streets?
I think, Mayor Pooh, this is Mark again. It's the way that our general plan is the mobility element makes use of it. It lists streets and it categorizes them, and then everything else that isn't categorized is in by default a residential street. And these streets, like as an example, San Marino, it happens to be called out as a limited secondary arterial for whatever reason, whether it's, as Councilman Harrington said, it was for a grant at some point, or whether they do truly take passengers from one city to the other and is not a local street. That's the way our general plan categorizes it. But it's something, if the council is interested, we can take a look at it and bring it back for a further discussion with some better information.
Okay, well, let's continue the council discussion. I'm sorry, I think, I interrupted it in the middle. I believe we were still with Councilmember Harrington.
No, I think I'm done as far as my council comment. I just wanted to get clarification of what happens if we don't accept the report as a whole and we start to piecemeal it.
Right. Okay. Councilmember Liao.
Thank you, Mayor. So I did mention those two streets, the one by the hospital, Santa Anita, and the one by City Hall, Mission Drive. Also, I agree with, Vice Mayor Menchaca, she mentioned, sometimes people drive at different speed, and depends on the condition of the street. And one of the streets that are really, really bad is Hermosa, from St. Gabriel to the county side, to Charlotte. And that section, you take a look at it, will be hundreds of big potholes. So right now, the speed limit, is 25, and all the way throughout to county, side, to Muscatel. The county side streets are pretty good, but it's the city side is very bad. So if we increase, from 25 to 30, and then decrease to 25, just past Charlotte, that's kind of awkward. So I don't know. It's just not very good for a driver. And by the way, because our streets is such in poor condition, and I don't think it's a good idea to increase the speed at all. Yeah, that's Formosa.
Okay. Let's see, Vice Mayor Menchaca.
I'm going to propose that we just table it. I think Greg and Mark have more information here, but I think it would also be important to get some feedback from our police department. But we've done the study. We're required to increase the speed, especially now that we know that there's some connectivity with some other cities. I just like to table it, bring it back for further discussion, and hopefully some answers to the questions that were raised tonight.
Okay, I'll second that.
Yeah, I think I agree with that as well. So I think we don't need to make a formal motion. I guess, Keith, is it sufficient to be able to say that questions and concerns were raised by council, and that the item would be brought back at a future date with supplemental information?
Yes.
Okay, well then, let's move on to the next item, which would be item number 6B. This is resolutions declaring the results and reciting the fact of the San Gabriel Municipal election held March 3rd, 2020, and authorizing certain documents related to the administration of the approved transaction and use tax. The presentation will be made by Chief City Clerk Sharon Clark. And let me just say at the very outset of all this that that because we're doing these meetings via telephone conference due to the outbreak of COVID-19, we were going to postpone all of the ceremonial aspects that would normally accompany the certification of results and so forth, and also for the next item, the reorganization. So, when we're able to all be in the same room together, we will do the appropriate ceremonies, because I think that, each individual would like to have that opportunity to be able to actually to do the appropriate ceremony and say a few words, so forth and so on. But at present, all that the public gets to see and participate in is, a screen a screen that shows the agenda item. So hopefully that time won't be, won't be too far away, too far into the future. But I just wanted to make that announcement at the outset as we go into these next couple of agenda items. So Sharon, would you please do the presentation for this item?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. On March 3rd, 2020, San Gabriel General Municipal Election was held for the purpose of electing 2 members of the City Council and voter consideration of a 3/4 cent transactions and use tax. The Los Angeles County Registrar Recorder County Clerk presented the official canvass of the returns to the city on March 27th, 2020, which verifies that the voters elected John R. Harrington and Tony Ding as members of the City Council for full terms of 4 years. In addition, a majority of the voters approved Measure SG, which adopts Ordinance number 667, enacting a 3/4 cent transactions and use tax until ended by the voters. Ordinance number 667 will take effect upon the declaration of election results by the City Council with an operative date of July 1st, 2020. In order to administer the tax, the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration requires certain resolutions of authorization and agreement. Staff recommends that the City Council adopt by one motion the following resolutions. Resolution number 2011, reciting the fact of the general municipal election held on March 3rd, 2020, declaring the result. Resolution number 2012, authorizing the city manager to execute agreements with the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration for implementation of the tax. And resolution number 2013, authorizing the examination of transactions and use tax records. We'd be happy to answer any questions on the election portion of this item, and Interim Finance Director Ken Louie is here to answer any questions on the tax measure and implementation.
Great. Thank you, Sharon. Before we get to clarifying questions from the council, I want to remind members of the public that the time for public comment on this particular item is still open. You may make a comment on this item by emailing cityclerk@sgch.org. The time for public comment will be open until the end of council questions with respect to this item. Clarifying questions from council, Councilmember Costanzo.
No questions at this time.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Harrington.
No questions.
Councilmember Liao.
No question.
Vice Mayor Menchaca.
No questions.
All right, I also don't have any questions. I will announce to the public that the time for public comment on this item is now closed. Assistant City Clerk Bonus, have we received any public comments with respect to this item?
We received 2, but if you want, I can read it for the second public comment. It's kind of applying to both the reorg and also this one.
Okay, then I guess let's hold them for the second public comment section. But no new ones received specifically just for this item.
No new ones.
Okay. Therefore, the time for public comment on this item is now closed. Council discussion. Let's see here. Councilmember Costanzo.
What are we discussing, Mayor Pooh?
I guess whether or not we have any objection to the recommended action.
No objection.
Okay. Councilmember Harrington.
Objection.
Councilmember Liao.
No objection.
Vice Mayor Menchaca.
No objections here either.
Yep, and none with me. So is there a motion to approve the recommended action?
So moved.
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion from Councilmember Costanzo. And is there a second?
Second.
I'll second.
I think that was Councilmember Liao was got in there first. So motion by Councilmember Costanzo and second by Councilmember Liao to approve the recommended action. We have to do another roll call vote. So Councilmember Costanzo.
Aye.
Councilmember Harrington.
Aye.
Councilmember Liao.
Aye.
And Vice Mayor Menchaca.
Aye.
And myself, aye as well. So the recommended action passes 5-0. We'll move on to the next item, and again, we'll do all of the ceremonial. I think we can do the administration of the oaths, but we'll do the administration of the oaths during this meeting, but we'll hold all the ceremonial speeches and so forth until when we can actually see each other and hopefully, still be able to have at least family members and things, close supporters present. So
Mayor Pooh, I do have comments though, after when it's the appropriate time.
Okay. So for item 6C, we have presentation of certificates of election and administration of oath of office. The presentations will be made and oaths administered by Chief City Clerk Sharon Clark, following an announcement by City Manager Lazaretto.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was going to say almost exactly what you said, but not quite as eloquently. I was going to apologize to the council and the community for not being able to do this in a more ceremonial way with everybody having their friends and loved ones in the audience and being able to congratulate them, both the incoming and outgoing mayor and vice mayor and council members. We will, as you said, when we get back to whatever our new normal is after this coronavirus outbreak, we will redo this portion of the meeting in a ceremonial way, and we will have cake and all of the festivities for everybody to be able to give the recognition that they deserve. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mark. I think Chief City Clerk Sharon Clark, would you like to make the presentation and do the oath for Councilmember Harrington?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The certificate of election has been presented to Councilmember Harrington electronically, and I will now administer the oath of office. Mr. Harrington, if you would please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, John R. Harrington,
I, John R. Harrington,
do solemnly swear that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. And would you like to make a brief comment at this time?
No, I'd just like to thank the voters.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Harrington. Congratulations. And as I mentioned, we will do the ceremonial portions, at a later date when we're able to all convene again. Presentation of certificate and oath of office for Tony Ding. Tony, are you on the line?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Sharon.
Thank you. The certificate of election has also been presented to Councilmember Ding electronically. Councilmember Ding, if you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Tony Ding,
I, Tony Ding,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemy, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duty
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
And Councilmember Ding, would you care to make a brief comment?
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you to the residents of San Gabriel for putting their trust in me and elect me to the San Gabriel City Council. I'm honored by their trust in me. Also, I want to thank the countless volunteers that helped me in my campaign. I would have not been elected without your time and the support. I'm looking forward to working there, every member of the City Council, on doing more for our San Gabriel residents. I will be a City Council member for all residents, and we're working with all groups and the communities on their requests and concerns. I will need everyone's help to make San Gabriel better. Lastly, I want to thank my wife for all her support and putting up with me during the election. She's a true angel and helped me to take care of my mom while I was busy with the campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Councilmember Costanzo, do you have any comments before we seat Mr. Ding?
Your opportunity for comments, but we never know what tomorrow holds, so I'm going to say mine tonight. Good evening, council, staff, family, friends, and the community. We are all facing challenging times due to COVID-19, and I would have never thought I would be teleconferencing, my final speech as a member of the City Council. But it's during these unprecedented times of uncertainty and disruption that we are reminded of what is most important in our lives, and that is the health and well-being of our loved ones. My heart goes out to all of those affected. I am grateful for all the men and women who are working each day to keep us safe and contain its spread. I would first like to congratulate Mr. Ding on his election to the San Gabriel City Council. Mr. Ding, you are now at the beginning of an amazing journey of which you will find out things you never knew before, and hopefully learn a great deal more about the city of San Gabriel over the next 4 years, so it will help you lead in the best way possible for all involved. Being elected should never be about personal gain, but always about gaining purpose. Serving as a council member and 4-time mayor over the past 17 years has been a great privilege and wonderful honor. The time went by in a flash. My loyalty was always to the residents and businesses of San Gabriel, never serving any special interest or showing favor to any special group. I always tried to represent the city of San Gabriel with the best intentions, putting politics aside and acting first and foremost for the people of San Gabriel. I always voted on issues with my conscience, an open mind, and the facts. It is the duty and responsibility of all representing our great city to unite and make sound decisions for all in the community. My hope is that will always be at the forefront of this and any future councils. I have been extremely touched by emails, notes, and phone calls by those in the community who have supported me throughout the years. The many comments telling me how much my work has been appreciated, my openness to honest conversation, my passion, and my willingness to make myself available whenever needed. Over the years working with former and current colleagues, we have achieved many milestones that I am so proud of, especially public safety, economic growth, street repaving, community connections, additional park space, and the San Gabriel Trench, which has allowed us to move about the city more effectively. It has not always been an easy journey, but we traveled the steep and tough road as a team for the benefit of San Gabriel. I could never have served all these years without the love and support of my family and friends. They had my back at each turn and gave me love and advice when needed. They are my rock, and I look forward to the many more special moments we will create as time moves on. For those of you who know me, my faith is what guides me each and every day. And for that, I thank God for giving me the strength and wisdom needed to carry out the responsibilities of an elected representative, passionate about the community for which I live and work. Although I am disappointed I do not get to continue on the City Council, I truly believe God has another plan for me to continue to do great things. The best thing about serving is you get to meet the best people, the people who really care about San Gabriel. These friendships will forever be treasured. I also want to extend my gratitude to all of my city family. It's easy for us to sit on the dais and set direction and policy, but it's up to them to be able to follow through with it, and you all do a great job. I am so proud of each and every one of you. I realize that you never get smarter listening to people who agree with you all of the time. You get smarter listening to people who don't agree with you, but still have your same passions and intentions. I am grateful to all of those I turn to for advice and for your recommendations. You are the ones who made my service to the city a success, and I am extremely grateful to all of you. I took pride in working with all of you each and every day, and what's rewarding is I feel that through all of your efforts, San Gabriel continues to move in the right direction. Thank you for your kindness throughout the years and for being there for me during very difficult personal times. You do not need a title to be a leader, so I will continue to be a leader in this community, just in a different way. I would like for my time on council to be remembered by a quote from Maya Angelou, and it reads as follows. I would like to be known as an intelligent woman, a courageous woman, a loving woman, and a woman who teaches by being. May God continue to bless all of us and this great city of San Gabriel, and may we wake up each day with a positive purpose to help others. Thank you, Mayor Pooh and City Council.
Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman Costanzo, for your many, many years of service on the City Council. I believe it's been 17, and we all know how much time and effort it takes to be on the council. So that the many, many hours you spent dedicated to community is much appreciated. And congratulations to Councilmember Tony Ding. And I think, like I said, we'll do the more formal ceremonies at a later date, but we'll take a moment now just to give them both a round of applause. And hopefully, hopefully, in each person's path, there will be many blessings, many blessings to come in the future. So congratulations to Tony, and thank you, outgoing Councilwoman Costanzo. All right. Next is the City Council reorganization. I'll just say at the outset that obviously these are extraordinary and difficult times. Congratulations to folks who have who were elected in the election. Thanks once again to outgoing council member Costanzo, and that I'm very proud of the city team, how we've been prepared and how we've adjusted and handled the COVID-19 outbreak. There's still many challenges yet to come, but I will continue to stay involved on our sort of COVID-19 response team. So with that, I guess, Sharon, will you please take it away?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I will note for the record that Mr. Ding is now seated as a member of the City Council. Moving on to the selection of mayor. I now declare the offices of mayor and vice mayor vacant. The floor is now open for nominations for the selection of mayor. Are there any nominations for mayor?
I would like to nominate Vice Mayor Denise Menchaca.
I second.
Vice Mayor Menchaca has been nominated. Are there any other nominations? Okay, hearing none, I close the floor to nominations and declare that Denise Menchaca is selected mayor by acclamation. Congratulations, Mayor Menchaca.
Yay.
Thank you so much.
I will now turn the meeting over to you for the conduct of the remainder of the meeting and the selection of vice mayor.
Okay. Well, before I begin with the selection of vice mayor, I have some brief comments. So I would appreciate just some moments here. First of all, to the members of this council, I want to thank you for the confidence you've shown in me by electing me mayor. To outgoing Mayor Pooh, thank you for your outstanding service and leadership during your tenure, especially during these unprecedented health crises. To Councilmember Harrington, congratulations on your reelection. To Councilmember Ding, congratulations and welcome to City Council. To City Manager Lazaretto and his entire staff, I want to express my gratitude for your dedication and assistance to San Gabriel. I deeply value everything you all do daily to keep us safe and maintain a high quality of life. On a personal level, I want to express my deepest appreciation to my family for their unconditional encouragement to serve this great city. Special shout out to my friends who are always there to lend strength and kindness. Lastly, as we all deal with the daily challenges surrounding COVID-19, I want to give assurances to the San Gabriel community that both City Council and staff are working tirelessly to mobilize resources for its residents and businesses. We're here to offer support and guidance as we all navigate through these uncertain times. Let's all do our part to slow the spread by staying home, practicing physical distancing, and other preventive measures. Our San Gabriel family will get through this together, and we will achieve even greater things ahead. So thank you so much to everyone. And let's proceed to our next agenda item, selection of the vice mayor. The floor is now open for nominations for the selection of vice mayor. Are there any nominations for vice mayors?
I would like to nominate Councilmember Chin-Ho Liao.
I second.
Okay. So we all second it. So if there are no more nominations, hearing none at this point, I close the floor to nominations and declare that Chin-Ho Liao is now our vice mayor by acclamation. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Councilmember?
Thank you, Mayor.
Or vice mayor.
Well, I'm truly honored. I'm so humbly accept this position, especially during this crisis, and I'll do the best I can because I really want to help our communities. For the past week, I have received more than 10,000 face masks and PPE items. They donate to the hospital, to the nursing homes, to our city hall and our fire and police departments. So I really appreciate these people that can step up and help our community. I want to mention one guy. He's a retired veteran, and he was working as a Uber driver. But of course, during this time, he's practically out of work. But still, he spent his own money to purchase 1,000 face masks and brought to the city hall and donate to our city staff. So I just want to mention during this difficult times, we all can find people kind-hearted and compassionate about each other. So again, I truly honor to accept this position. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Congratulations. And make sure you mention him as part of our new program called Act of Kindness. So for the public, if you see an act of kindness, please submit it to our Public Information Officer, Jonathan Pooh. We're trying to collect that information because there's so much negativity, and we know there's a lot of positive action taking place in our city, and we want to also share that with everyone. At this point, City Clerk, next item, please.
This is the second public comment period for opportunity for the public to address the City Council on items of interest that are not on the agenda. City Clerk Bonus, have we received any? Would you like to read the comments at this time?
Yes, we've received two. The first one is from Dillian Areola. He is the City of Montebello Commissioner, and the letter reads as follows. Hi, I'd like to congratulate Tony Ding on his successful campaign to the San Gabriel City Council. I believe Mr. Ding will be a great councilman and serve the City of San Gabriel well. I look forward to seeing the great work he will do on the council, and the current council is lucky to have him. The second public comment that I have received is from the Office of Senator Susan Rubio's office, and it reads the following. A congratulatory message from Senator Susan Rubio. Good evening, San Gabriel and City Council. During these unprecedented times, leadership matters. The City of San Gabriel is fortunate to have you all as role models for our residents and young people. I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to outgoing Mayor Jason Poo for his dedication to the city and continued leadership. I would also like to thank Council Member Julie Costanzo for her 17 years of dedicated service to the city and its residents. Her tireless efforts on behalf of the residents have left an incredible legacy of service and selflessness in the San Gabriel Valley. In addition, I congratulate Councilmember John Harrington and Councilmember Tony Ding on your respective elections. I commend you for your active involvement and leadership in the City of San Gabriel and look forward to working closely with you both. I would also like to welcome the incoming mayor, and I look forward to continuing our work on behalf of our community as we navigate these stressful times. Normally, I would have a pleasure of attending your reorganizational meeting and hope that we can all celebrate together soon. Finally, I want to express my deepest support for the city, the council, staff, and its residents. I want to thank you all for reaching out to me and giving me your insights as I advocate for you in the legislature as we work together for our community. My office is always here to help and serve you and our shared constituents, so please do not hesitate to reach out. On behalf of the California State Senate and the 22nd State Senate District, thank you for all the work you have done and continue to do in support of our communities. Sincerely, Susan Rubio. That is all the public comments I have received tonight.
Thank you so much, City Clerk Bonus. Okay, next item, City Manager's Report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. I just wanted to reiterate something that council has already said tonight, which is a big thank you to the council and all of our city departments for the amazing way that you're all dealing with the coronavirus crisis. And I also want to thank the community because the participation that we have seen on things like closures of non-essential businesses, things like not having gatherings in parks, and just the way that people are conducting themselves is truly a testament to how great this community is. And though we are just entering what might be a couple of weeks that we will hope to get through as quickly as possible and not remember, it is going to be a time that with all of us working together, we will triumph. And I have to say, I couldn't be more prouder in this time of challenge to be involved in a city such as San Gabriel. So thank you all very much. And as Mayor Menchaca mentioned, we have our community kindness program. And please, if you have stories of people who are doing great things in our community during these especially trying times, submit them through our website or call us at City Hall, and we would be very honored to share those stories of the way that our community is coming together in this trying time. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, next item, council comments and, conference meetings reports. I guess we can still do that through Zoom or teleconferencing like we are tonight. But I will start with our newly elected council member, Tony Ding. Any comments?
Yes. Okay. Thank you, the Mayor Denise Machenga. Sorry, I used to. Okay. So my comments. Especially for this moment, we have the coronavirus. And I have involved a lot several the community, the organization. They already do some kindness things like they fundraising the money fund and purchased some medical supply for our community. And almost whole Southern California, they go to the UCLA, USC, UC Irvine, Kaiser. Also, and by the way, some my deeply involved organization, they will have the kindness, the donation for our, especially for the San Gabriel City community. They probably focus on our medical center. And I also hear about it from the city manager that we are city employee also need some mask too. We have this kind the supply for them too, and also for our the police department and the fire department, and also kindness is for the like elder people living in the San Gabriel area, especially maybe they living in the nursing home. Yeah, we also, yes, we will find some way to help our community to overcome the coronavirus situation. Yeah, we try to show out everybody the love and hope God bless America, God bless the city of San Gabriel. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Councilmember Harrington?
Thank you, Mayor. No comments tonight.
Okay. Councilmember Pu?
Nothing additional. Just wanted to, I forgot to mention earlier, I'm looking forward to your leadership, Mayor Menchaca, and that it shouldn't go unnoticed that you are also now the first Latina mayor of the city of San Gabriel. So congratulations once again. I have full confidence in you, and I know the San Gabriel team will remain strong. That's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Councilmember Pu. Vice Mayor Lau?
Oh, thank you, Madam Mayor. I did attend a webinar actually by the San Gabriel Valley Economic Partnership, and they talk about the SBA loan again. However, this is something new. It's a free money, $10,000 grant. It's emergency 10,000, and you have to apply through it's online, sba.gov/disaster. Okay, disaster. So apply online, and if you're qualified, you get that $10,000 free money. Another program is called the Paycheck Protection Program. So you own a company and you don't have more than 500 employees, you can file for that Paycheck Protection Program, and which is, every month you pay for all your employees. You can collect 2.5 times of that money. And so, yeah, any business owners, restaurant owners, if you're in trouble right now, you can utilize this program to help you through this difficult times. So those are the two things I want to report. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you again.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Those are valuable information. I was just going to ask that our PIO, Jonathan Fu, send information to our council members about the Community Act of Kindness, because it sounds like there's a lot of stories there that we should be sharing. So if you can please send that out to council, I think that would be very helpful. And let's see, next item, closed session. There are none. And before I adjourn, I'd like to announce that the next regular city council meeting will be held on Tuesday, April 21st, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. Meeting adjourned. Thank you so much to everyone. Good night.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.